Hi, I'm Mickey Straub. I'm the former mayor. I've always known as Mayor Mickey because I'm a former mayor of a Chicago suburb. And, I want to just share with my fellow Americans why I feel so strongly about these masks and why I think, frankly, they're un American. And it finally hit me one day. I was looking outside my front door why I felt so strongly and why I haven't worn one in the whole first 6 months of this entire pandemic, thanks to the help from friends and family. Because I thought to myself, because I love this country too much. And unfortunately, this flies in the face of everything this country stands for. Now, before all you well-meaning people who disagree with me, get your underwear in a bunch and think that I'm risking everybody's health and start calling me names as I've seen on Facebook before, or picketing or boycotting my business or my home, and carrying on like Antifa at a patriotic parade, please listen to me just for a moment. The reason why I feel so strongly about these masks has to do with Abraham Lincoln, right behind us. He's this painting, which I bought actually in Gettysburg, really representing him speaking at the Gettysburg Address. That speech is what I think about when I think of these masks, because he reminded all Americans that our fathers brought forth onto this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated the proposition that all men are created equal. Well, these masks symbolize everything against it because they symbolize the fact that our liberties are being taken away and we're no longer equal. No longer because the government restricts our behavior. We can't even go to a gas station, a store, a restaurant, a neighboring state without fear of being tracked and controlled by the government. This is more like living in a socialist or communist country. It's just un-American. I'm sorry. And we have governors who have not allowed our kids to go to school or even go to visit or get a hug and a kiss from their grandparents. We can't go to church, but we can go to Costco, or we can go to a liquor store or buy marijuana, but we can't go to church. And anybody that speaks out about it is punished. You probably have seen it. The woman who got actually dragged out of the bleachers at her kid's football game because she wasn't wearing a mask. This is ridiculous. These don't symbolize safety. These symbolize oppression, in my opinion, and a clear violation. I don't know why it hasn't been enforced yet, that it's clear violation of our First Amendment rights for freedom of speech and freedom of religion. No longer are we equal either. Now things are being run by the government and the whole system, so that government employees are almost like no longer civil servants; they're almost like civil masters. I mean, seriously, have you heard of any government employee getting laid off during this? How about their pay cut? How about one of their $1 million pensions? Which unfortunately many of them aren't getting. How about that being cut? No, it doesn't. It's not happening. It's the system has created almost like a new ruling class, like you would expect to see, like you see in Cuba and other socialist and communist countries. This is just un-American. Meanwhile, our economy is being destroyed. Jobs are being lost. Families ruined. While all are being forced to wear one of these things for a virus whose death rate is not much more than or in the same ballpark of a seasonal flu. Now, especially if you take all the false, all the misreports out there. We've all heard it. Someone who died of a heart attack or a car accident, the young child in Connecticut, I believe it was, poolside. I've heard a friend of mine whose uncle died in Madison, Wisconsin, of a heart attack. They blame it on COVID. The death rate is not much greater than the seasonal flu. This is not America, as one of my Egyptian friends put it, and why he came to this country. Americans don't live in paranoia, and they're not generally pessimistic and believe all the propaganda. We're a faith-filled community, faith-filled people that love our family and love freedom and love the Constitution and following the rule of law. What we are living through is much, much more like socialism. It's un-American, and these masks certainly represent it. It's going to kill me next week when I have to wear one for the very first time on a flight to Florida. Americans, we don't stand 6 feet apart like we're expected to now. Like I saw at a Trader Joe's and Office Depot just yesterday, thinking of our neighbor as being our enemy, and wearing these face masks in fear. It kills me to watch that. These face masks are truly un-American. Let us please all remember again Abraham Lincoln. He warned us during a much greater civil war that this nation was being tested. That any nation so conceived and so dedicated, if it can long endure. Lincoln ended that speech by inspiring all of us, and may he do it again, to dedicate ourselves to the great task that remains before us. That we here may highly resolve that these dead that shall not have died in vain. We've lost over 1 million Americans, men and women, who have died fighting for our freedom. May we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall return to being under God. And as he said back then, that we will have a new birth of freedom again. Now that's American. God bless you all. Let's get through all this, and let's stop carrying on like we live in a socialist country. It's un-American.